Hello guys, Sinister Scrafty here. Today I'm going to do a video about the Johto Gym leaders, How difficult are they? Particularly in the Nuzlocke. So let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about Heart Gold and Soul Silver since that's the most recent entry. If you want to do Gold and Silver, let me know. I'll do a video for that as well. So first up is Faulkner. Faulkner, let's be real here, man. He's not the best, okay? He's gonna be C tier. Um, if you find a Geodude, this fight is legitimately free. There's like no way to lose it unless you get crit by Gus several times in a row. If you pick Chikorita, you're gonna have problems with this guy. If particularly if you have pretty bad encounters. Let's say you have like Spinarak, Caterpie, or like Bellsprout. It could get pretty awkward at that point, but there's a few good encounters that will save you. Like uh, Sentra is decent, or Tata is decent because it gets Hyper Fang at level 13, I believe. If you pick any of the two other starters, they're really good into him. And the Roost spam can be kind of annoying, but overall, you're likely to outlast Faulkner just because he has two Pokemon. And really, does this Pidgey really count for much? To be completely honest, not really. Um, that's just kind of fodder because it doesn't even have Roost. So that's why Faulkner is C tier. Gym number 2, Bugsy, Metapod Kakuna Scyther. Yikes. The Scyther lead is scary. Stab U-turn is scary. If you have a Geodude, this is free as well. But the Scyther is scary. I'm going to admit that. It is extremely, extremely scary. The other two Pokemon, we don't really care about them very much. But the Scyther is that threatening. I think giving it U-turn made a big difference for this fight because Fury Cutter, yeah, it gets threatening, but it takes a while to get started up. Whereas Bugsy, Scyther's going to outspeed pretty much every Pokemon you have, hit you hard, and then get out of there. So, and then Metapod and Kakuna can take the hit. So, I think the fight overall was just designed much more better in Heart Gold Soul Silver. It's B tier. If you have Chikorita, yikes! I feel bad for you. Don't use it in that fight. It's just gonna die probably. Whitney. Whitney's pretty infamous for being difficult. Why is this? Miltank is extremely fast for this point in the game. Um, I believe Miltank is actually base 100 speed. So, to my knowledge, you're not going to have anything that fast. Even if you have like a Kadabra, it's just going to be too quick for you. And then the stomp flinches can really hurt. Um, and rollout can get out of control pretty quickly. So yes, Whitney is S tier. Her Miltank is that good, guys. So yeah, you are probably gonna lose a Pokemon in this fight, to be completely honest with you. If you have like an Ekans and do like Intimidate switching, that could be like a good plan. Sandshrew is pretty decent into this fight as well, because that's high defense. It can eat rollouts. Um, but really, your main way of dealing with Miltank is it's going to be the status. The more status you can get away with, the better. Morty is going to be A tier. Gengar is really, really good for that point of the game. And yeah, his team is pretty much all the same, but we all know how broken of a mechanic Sleep is at this point, I would say. So, he's pretty fairly difficult, and your counterplay is really limited. You can get like an Umbreon. If you bring like your own Haunter, it's kind of not that good because you're like risking it all, right? Like if you get like a low roll or you can't one hit something, then you're dying in return. So his Gengar has Shadow Ball, and that's just really hard to play around. Normal types are gonna kind of save you here. You're gonna have to really rely on them. Ferret is pretty good for this fight, so that's something to note. Um, Pidgeotto can be alright, but the problem is you don't really threaten Morty that hard with Pidgeotto, and you can get slept. So that's the thing about it, right? Like if you're not immediately threatening his team, he's just gonna put you to sleep. And then Dream Eater gets his health back, and boy, it could just be if you're unlucky, it could be a really hard fight. Um, Chuck. So Chuck, oh boy, it, it, it depends, right? It just depends. It depends on your counters. Sometimes it can be really hard. Like if you find a lot of normal types, um, or if you pick like Quivlava, you're gonna have trouble. Um, but ironically, if you pick Bayleaf, he's actually, uh, if you pick Bayleaf, it's actually not a bad fight, to be honest with you. So I would say you have a lot more tools to deal with. He only has two Pokemon, so I think Bugsy is actually going to be harder than him. Jasmine. See, the thing about Jasmine, the two Magnemite is kind of crazy for where you're at in this point in the game. At least she has three Pokemon, but they're Magnemite. So really, is it that much better? I don't even think Jasmine is here, guys. Wow, whoever made this legitimately forgot about Jasmine. That's kind of depressing. But okay, we'll just pretend, I guess. Jasmine, she's B tier. She's probably a little bit harder than Chuck, but Steelix wishes it could hit harder. And you know, all three of the starters are decent into Jasmine. Um, because Bayleaf hits Steelix neutrally, and if you're hitting it on the special side, you're going to be putting a dent on it. So, yeah. Price. I'm going to do that. And the reason why is just at this point, you have so many answers, man. So many answers. You could have Machoke. You could have Machamp at this point. You could have Alakazam at this point. Um, You can have Meganium at this point, which I know Meganium is scared of the ice moves, but you do so much damage back, and Seal's not even an ice type. So you lead Meganium, and you just get momentum there. You can also use other decent grass types. Um, well, you don't have the Leaf Stone, so you'd have to use like Whippin' Bell or something like that. But I get that's not that great, but the point is you have a lot of options now. And like Gyarados is really good into this fight as well. And you get one for free at level 30, which is the same level as Seal. So if you have an electric type, oh my gosh, they're going to carry you for the first two Pokemon. And then you switch out for Piloswine. You just go to like a water type or something. So Price is like, he's just so disappointing. Honestly, worse than Faulkner. Get out of here, Price. You're not good. Claire. So Claire is actually really, really scary because of Sniper on Kingdra. And a Sniper boosted crit is pretty much going to kill everything. It has Hyper Beam and Hydro Pump. Both of those things, man, really, really, really hard to switch into. So I'll give Claire low A. Her Dragonairs can be, you know, less than optimal, let's just say. Kind of holds her back. The Gyarados is good though. Jargon Pulse is kind of a weird move on it, but I get why they did it. Um, Overall, she can kill some of your Pokemon, man. In a Nuzlocke, you can lose some really good mons if you're not careful against her. So I advise that you tread carefully. All right, let's go to the Elite Four. Elite Four, Elite Four. Will. So dark types are really uncommon. And for that reason, I'm going to give him A tier. And he has good type diversity, which is not as common with the other Elite Four members. Like, He has flying ice, grass, water. That's really good. And, for that reason, it makes it hard to have one Pokemon to answer his whole team. Umbreon does a really good job. And I could do an encounter tier list too, if you guys would like. This would be a nice extension on the series. But yeah, Umbreon gets a special shout out here. Gengar's pretty good, but thing is, you can't come in on a Psychic. If you don't kill something, you will die to Psychic. So, Will kind of underrated in my opinion. Koga, this guy kind of sucks. His Crobat can double team cheese you. That part is not fun. Muck can also use Minimize and Acid Armor. That's also scary. But these three, the Ariados Venomoth Fortress, dude, all you need is a fire type, and those pretty much are taken care of for you. So I'm gonna say, oh boy, Bugsy's still harder than this guy, to be honest with you. Bruno. Bruno's not as bad as he's been in the past, but he's still pretty bad. He's he's legitimately worse than Chuck. And this is the reason right here. Onyx. Just give the guy a freaking Steelix, please. Like, what are you guys doing? But yeah, Machamp could be kind of scary. Just got to be careful with that. Got to be careful. Karen's a decent team. Umbreon is really annoying. Gengar is really scary. It has Focus Blast. I mean, Focus Miss. Um, so if her Gengar lands Focus Blasts, she will give you a hard time. Her Houndoom also has Dark Pulse and Flamethrower. Very strong hitting moves. Champion Lance. This guy's pretty hard. And I know what you're thinking, Sinister Scrafty, what if you just, bring an Ice type? Well, here's the thing, right? You have to find ways to maneuver your Ice type in, right? Because, like, let's say, you defeat Gyarados with your Electric type, whatever, right? Next out is usually a Dragonite, and that's kind of weird for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can use Feraligatr, have it use Ice Fang, but I mean, you're not one-shotting the Dragonites by any means. And one of these Dragonite has Thunder. And if I'm not mistaken, Dragon Rush is their stab, which, dude, chance to flinch and 100 base power. Yeah, if it misses, then you don't gotta worry so much. But, if you get unlucky, it can be really tough. The thing that makes this less hard than Whitney to me is that, it's out of the game. You can sacrifice your Pokemon. But if you're trying to play the whole post game and red and all that, you still definitely want to be careful. Don't lose your best Pokemon. But Charizard answers the Ice types. Thing is, right? Lapras does really good. If you have very specific Pokemon, very, very specific Pokemon, yes, they can be made a lot easier. You can guarantee yourself a Lapras if you don't get a Dark Cave encounter. Um, but if you don't, it's going to be trickier. Lapras can learn Thunderbolt. That takes care of Gyarados. Water Stab takes care of Charizard and Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl scares you with the Rock Stab, so you got to be careful about that. But otherwise, it's really, really, really good into this team. Like, honestly, kind of like the perfect answer, if you ask me. So, yeah, certain Pokemon do really, really well into Lance, but overall, Lance is challenging. He hits incredibly hard. The Dragonites are incredibly bulky. It's really hard to take him down. But yeah, this is my list, and wow, look how well distributed this is. This is very appeasing to look at, I must say. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. Who would you move? Who would you, who would you have any D tier in the Pokemon League or in the leaders? Um, I think a case could be made for one or two of them. So just let me know what you think, and let me know if you'd like to do a similar video, perhaps a Nuzlocke encounter or Pokemon Gold and Silver. I can do the Kanto leaders, however, they're all pretty much easy. Blue is the scariest one among them. But let me know if you're interested in that, and please leave a like and subscribe.